You may see signs or ads offering to pay you cash for gold, but how about for diabetic strips?
Diabetics use the strips to check their blood sugar several times a day, but a strange business for unused strips is booming in and around St. Louis. Investigative reporter Chris Nagus discovered why it's lucrative and why some are concerned it's putting the public health at risk.
These signs are popping up on street corners all over North St. Louis. The ad is eye-catching with a fistful of cash and a phone number, so we called.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
You're about to witness an unusual business transaction.
Thanks for coming out here.
Oh, no problem, man.
At a St. Charles County gas station, a News 4 producer met the man who drives around town picking up diabetic test strips.
This is what I've got.
He paid us $30 for an unopened box of One Touch Ultra Blue strips. We bought ours at a drugstore for $150. We wanted to know where the typical seller might get theirs.
You know, I got people who call me just because they cleaned out a closet of their companion, you know. I got people who call me every month when they get their prescription, so.
What? They call you when they get their prescription?
Yeah.
Well, don't they need them, though?
Well, like, the doctor would give them 100 and they use 50.
But that's not the only reason diabetic test strips are floating around.
So when I open a box, Lord and behold, there you go, was the strips.
Meet Kim. She doesn't want her face revealed, but she lives in North County and receives diabetic test strips through Medicare. But she's complained to her medical provider about sending more than she needs.
You told them you don't need any diabetic testing strips.
Correct.
Did they send you diabetic testing strips?
Yes.
Were you billed for those?
They probably going to bill Medicare for them, yeah.
Her strips are paid for by taxpayers, $50 a box. She doesn't sell hers, but clearly some people do.
And see, a lot of these people get them on Medicaid, you know, to where they only have like a $5 copay. And the pharmacy will send them anywhere from 100 to 200 a month. And they're like, we only use 25 to 50 of them.
Do you have any doubt in your mind that some or many of the test strips that are being sold in these situations that we're talking about are paid for by Medicare and Medicaid?
I know they're paid for by Medicare and Medicaid.
Gerald Roy is the special agent in charge, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Inspector General. He says diabetic test strips have created what he calls a gray market. In St. Louis, the ads are plastered on Craigslist, Thrifty Nickel, and on telephone poles around town.
Unfortunately, it is not a crime at this particular time. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't serious issues with this conduct.
Roy says the agency's #1 concern is the health of diabetics. He worries some will sell their strips for a quick buck instead of following doctors' orders. Not to mention the cost to taxpayers. Roy says the government shelled out $250 million for test strips last year.
Has there been any discussion that you're aware of to outlaw the selling of products paid for by Medicare or Medicaid?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Should there be?
I think we ought to take a look at that issue, absolutely.
The owner of the company behind the signs lives in St. Charles County. She told News 4 she resells them to a variety of organizations, but wouldn't disclose specific names.
It's an interesting thing that you're doing. I mean, it's an interesting business.
And then what my boss does is she sells them to non-for-profit groups, so they go to like women's shelters, homeless shelters.
The owner of the business declined an on-camera interview, but told me they won't knowingly purchase diabetic test strips paid for by Medicare or Medicaid, but also said they don't ask people where they get them. Chris Nagus, News 4.